Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'll be showing you how to make a MiG-23 in buildable for treasure. This is the first Soviet fighter jet to feature variable swept wings, so you know it's going to be a good build. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing. I've got lots more planned for this channel, including builder boat stuff, so make sure you're there for that. Anyway, let's get to it. So before we get started, right off the bat you need around 400 blocks of your choice. I chose to use metal, 350 poles of your choice, and a bunch of miscellaneous plane parts. So just like always, you're gonna have to start off by placing 2 poles vertically. Make sure your blocks are not anchored. Place a block on top, and then extend it so it's a total of 10 blocks long. Then moving half a block up, extend it by 3, and then moving half a block up again, place a block. Now at the top, extend it by 4. And then moving to this view, place a block on either side just like this. Then extend it by 2 on each side, so it's a total of 3 blocks long. After that, place a pole on each side just like this, and a third one at the front. Place a block on each side, and then move down by half a block, and extend it to the end. Then moving out again on each side, place a block and extend it to the end. Then back to the front, go to this spot and place a block on each side, followed by another one behind it, and then up here, place a total of 2 blocks. Next, place some glass so it's 2 by 3. And then at the back, place a block that's half up, and place a couple more blocks over here. And place 1 block of glass at the front. Now on the sides, place 3 blocks here. And behind the glass, place another 3. And behind the glass, place another couple blocks. Moving down, place another 2 blocks here. And then extend it all to the end. Now onto the glass, break this block on each side. And place a block just like this. Moving to the back, you're going to extend it by 7 blocks. And then for the sides, extend it by 5. Now at the top, extend it by another 2 blocks. And then move it down, then extend it to the end. And place another 2 blocks on top. Break these corners and then move the block in on each side. And start shaping your engine. So the engine itself is circular, so try your best to make it that shape. I'm just extending it so it's a total of 4 blocks long. It doesn't necessarily need to be perfect, but as I said, as long as you're able to get a rough circle, then it's fine. And then once you've extended that, stack 2 sideways poles at the very end. Importantly, make sure to change your movement to 0.5 so that you're able to maintain the circular shape. That's looking good. And don't forget to change it back to 1. Extend it by another 2 poles. And then for the rudder, stack 4 poles sideways. On the top, place 2 of them just like this. Then place a pole vertically. And then place a pole to the side, so you can stack a pole into the pole that you just placed. And finally, place a pole up here. Flip your pole and place one here. And maintaining the same angle, start filling it in. There we are. Now break these poles over here to make the rudder a little bit smaller. Right near the engine, break these 2 poles here and just reshape it so it's a bit more curved. Now for the elevators, you're going to place a pole on each side just like this, making sure that it's not flush with the block on the side and that it's slightly shifted forward. And then try to maintain almost like a triangle shape and then extend it out so it's a total of 7 poles long. Then do the same on the other side. And flipping your pole and placing it so it's inside the one at the very end. Place it just like this and then extend it by 1. Then do the same on the other side. Then place 2 extra poles here. And you can fill it in. And then towards the fuselage, place another 2 poles here. Now on the rudder, you're going to place 2 more poles on each side, just like this. And moving to the cockpit, place a block on each side, right where I did. Then move it in by half a block on each side. And then place another 5 blocks so it's on an angle, and then do the same on the other side. And then moving inwards, place some blocks just like this, so you're maintaining that diamond shape. Then you can fill it in. Place 3 poles at the top. And then next to the window, place a block just like this on each side. And then start extending it towards the back. So the bottom part is 8 blocks long and the top part is 9 blocks long. If you guys need to pause the video, you can. But all we're doing is just widening this area of the plane. So once again, it doesn't need to be exactly what I did as long as you're able to widen it and maintain the shape. Now at the top, place 2 different blocks just like this, and these blocks are going to be used to angle the wings backwards. So at the end of each block, place a wheel just like this, and then place a pole so it locks the wheel up. This pole is only temporary, but the whole point of it is so the wheel doesn't spin while we're building on it. So make sure you do this to the other side. Now at the bottom of the wheel, place a pole just like this, and then changing your movement to 0.5, place another pole on each side so it's shifted inside of the wheel. This will make sure that the wings don't just randomly fall off when you load the build. Over here, place 5 more poles. And repeat the same on the other side. Don't forget to change your movement back to 1. And place another 2 poles at the front and 1 at the back. Then place one sideways so that there's a little gap between the actual plane itself and the wing. It is very, very important that you make sure that these 2 are not touching, otherwise you will not be able to angle your wings backwards using the wheels. Now extend the wing outwards by extending it by 2 poles, shifting back a pole, and then extending it by another, and you're going to do this a total of 3 times. Now break a pole at the end, and place 2 of them here. And then once again at the wingtip, flip the pole around and place 1 here. Then extend it by 4 blocks. And then move it outwards, then keep extending it right before it touches the fuselage. And then on the inside, make sure you fill in this area. So remember to leave a gap. That's about it for the wings. You guys can fill it in now. And then break the 2 poles at the end. We're going to make these wings slightly thicker, so widen it by 1 pole by following the length of the wing. And then on the wingtips, extend it by another 2. And the reason why we're making the wings slightly wider is because when we fold it, the front part of the wings are going to be tucked inside of the plane. And then place another 2 poles on the inside, still remembering to leave a gap. And then using a screwdriver tool, select these specific parts, including the wheel and the inside of the wing, and turn off the collision. And most importantly, change the wheel speed to 0.5. You're going to have to remember to do the same on the other side. And what this will do is it will actually allow us to angle the wings backwards using the wheels without the inside of the wing colliding with the actual plane itself. Now at the bottom, place 2 poles right over here. and then place one more at the end, and then a couple underneath. Set your movement tool to 0.5, and then feel free to place a couple neon blocks to represent the afterburner. Making sure to change your movement back to 1. At the top, place a couple poles here. And then moving back, place a couple on each side. And these poles themselves aren't really essential, they just help with the shape of the plane itself to make it look less blocky. So don't stress if you don't have enough poles. At the front, place a couple on each side. And then break these blocks. And if you have the scaling tool, you can place a block up here. And then move it inwards to represent the intake. This part is purely for decoration, so if you don't have the scaling tool, then don't worry about it. Next, you're going to give the plane a paint job, and selecting the wheels, you're going to change the transparency to 100%. Okay, wait, so the original idea behind this build was to allow the wings to fold mid-flight, but it turns out Roblox physics hate it, and if you do have a single wheel on your plane while flying, it becomes really hard to control. So just ignore what I said about transparency. We are going to fold the wings while we are on the ground, and break the wheels later. On the inside, place 2 blocks here, and place your pilot seat. Then at this corner of the plane, select a bunch of blocks and remove the collision. This should make you so you're able to jump into the plane. Make sure that you're saving it as often as you can. And feel free to place a gun at the front. The best way to place miniguns or cannons is to turn off the aim and the collision and set the transparency to 100%. This makes it so the gun is invisible and you're able to shoot it while you're turning the plane. At the back, place your turbines and make sure you bind them to the pilot seat. Same thing with a gun at the front. And what I like to do is I like to place a thruster or 2 at the back to represent the afterburner. So once you're done with that, set the transparency of all of these to 100%. And also remember to turn off the collision. Now, the trick with the wheels on the wings is to bind them to opposite keys, because you don't want both wheels spinning the same way, you want them to go opposite ways. So make sure you do this if you plan to sweep the wings. And then break the 2 poles that lock to the wheel, and you should be able to tilt the wings backwards. It doesn't need to be too excessive, but angled enough so it looks good. Next, select any block of your choice, and make sure you check the anchor block button, and place it at the tip of the wings. This will make it so when you break the wheels, the wings don't fall onto the ground. Break any of the invisible blocks that you don't want anymore. And checking the match rotation button, extend the poles so that they're inside of the actual plane itself. This will stop the wings from falling down. And just fill it in. Make sure you get these gaps underneath, and feel free to paint it. Once you've done that, you can save it, and that's pretty much it. So break the 2 support blocks at the end after you've saved it. And break the 2 poles that you started off with at the very bottom. And if your plane is still floating like this, use the screwdriver tool to select all of it and unanchor it. Now you should be able to fly your plane. So that's pretty much it. My opinion, the plane turned out very well. I actually really enjoyed it, and I hope you guys did too. Once again, if you guys enjoyed this video, consider subscribing, and I'll have more videos on their way. Okay, bye.